In last week's episode with Janine Almeida, a clinical hypnotherapist and serial entrepreneur, we talked about how her battle with leukemia as a teenager and her first foray into entrepreneurship in her early 20s created a hunger inside her to study the human mind and its impact on resilience. She shared her experience as an accomplished dressage rider and how the horses taught her so many lessons that she applies in the business world. In this week's conversation with Janina, we talk about what it means to leave a legacy, how she's using the power of the mind to help cancer patients heal, and how she is addressing workplace burnout with her expertise in mind-body connection. Welcome to E3, Engage and Empower with Empathy. You hit a point in your career where you're like, I want to dig into the psychology behind what moves people. And I want to dig into that a little bit further. At what point did you kind of reach that stage, and what did that look like?
When you start to enter a stage where you sell a painting that values as much as a hospital, and this is a decision of an hour of looking at it, it starts to put things in the perspective. Because somehow in the company world, and we believe that we need to work to create money to live, and creating wealth gives security and so on. But we don't see usually how it is when there is already all the money and all the wealth, and there's still no security, and there's still no peace of mind, and there is still all the fears and all the pain still there. So this didn't heal. Once you get tired somehow of making wealthy people even more wealthy, then you really have no value, because they look at their bank account statement and nothing changed since you started to work with them. But what would really change is your interaction. It's the emotions, is the way you deal with each other, and the trust and the personal relationships. And then you enter a business world where people make business with you because they trust you, because of who you are, and because how you make them feel, and because they believe not only on you but how they are treated. And that actually made me look again into what we really are, what we are here doing, what we came here for. With my father being an architect, I always liked it when I visit him. I cross the bridge he built, and then I pass the train station he designed, and then I go through the market. I knew that the day is not there anymore, and I missed him. I go through his work, and leaving something behind, even if it's your bridge or your book or your trees that you planted, it's more important than accumulating wealth. In 100 years, this will be in someone else's hand. Anyhow, from there, I discovered hypnotherapy. Then I fell in love with it. Then I understood the process I did as a teenager, finally. And that really took me in. Yeah, and from then I started to work with people, and started to see how impactful that is. The niche finds you. But it's not that I niche in cancer. I don't. It simply happens. And then to see that the doctors in the hospital, they were open, they were receptive, they were understanding. And in the end, they were, of course, because you see the results. The patient goes to the hospital every week, and you see the numbers. So it's not that you believe in it. No, you are looking at it scientifically. You see the person getting better, and you see that while the process happens, there is an improvement. We all deal with people with the disease, and we all saw that the most positive, who had a better mindset, are the ones who heal. So it's not really something new. That we could change the body by changing the mind. We all know that a person it's more optimistic and more happy, has better chance to heal.
Yeah, and it's interesting because obviously there are some people out there who are naturally just more positive and optimistic. It's just their personality, I think, and you are one of those people. When someone's diagnosed with what could be potentially a terminal illness, I just feel like doctors, they're equipped to address the immediate medical need. They're not necessarily there to help you with your mindset. So
Absolutely.
I'd love to understand how did that partnership look like between what you were doing as a hypnotherapist and what the medical practitioners were doing, and why is it so important to have both of those?
Yes,
you working on the mindset of the patient and the doctor working on the medical condition.
it's very funny because one of the doctors that usually works with the same patients, we divide that he worked from the hippocampus down, and I and I work from the hippocampus up.
I love that.
As a joke. But usually in medicine, we treat symptoms. We don't treat the root cause. I'm really happy that we start to understand that the body is showing that something is going on. But the root, the beginning of all that is the brain. It's here that we order and command everything that happens in our body. So if our immune system that is designed to function is not functioning for any reason, the answer to that is in the mind. It's not in the immune system. The immune system is a symptom of a response that should happen. It did happen. If I have an autoimmune disease, the root cause of this is in the brain that allowed that to happen. The same thing for a woman who doesn't produce eggs. She was born, it's a machine conceived to reproduce. If it doesn't make eggs, something is wrong, and it's here. I don't say we cannot heal what's going on in the symptom. Yes, for sure. But we still didn't dealt with the root cause. So if we can combine the two, we will have a perfect world. That we have modern medicine acting on the body. And what is not modern medicine? Hypnotherapy, it's something that exists from the Egyptian time. We had the sleeping temple. Freud used hypnotherapy. This is not new. It's not from today. It's just that we look at it different now. But this is probably older than medicine. For many years, didn't use all the advantages that in other eras they knew that hypnosis has. What we learn is that a combined technique, it's not enough to go in hypnosis to understand why I have a problem. I need to act on it. Then I need to stop that, to interrupt this thinking, to interrupt this action. And then I need to transform that into something else. So it's not enough just to, I understand. I grew up, I believed this, and I had this fear or this guilt or this pain, and this leads to my body to produce stress. My past, I still hold with me, and I still carry wounds. Yeah, that's not enough, because this is great information. But by itself, it doesn't help. We still need to interrupt this thinking and to changing it to something and stop living that past pain and create a new free version of that idea. There is a really wonderful phrase that says that tears, feelings that didn't find their expression in tears will cause other organs to weep. This is what we see many times. Yes, sometimes we don't live our feelings until they no longer need to be felt. We don't go through the emotion. And the other huge problem as well, of course, is that our brain, unfortunately, it's only fully formed at the age of 25. And until there, we live under the decision of emotions, because the prefrontal cortex and the part that could have logic and understanding, it's not completely formed. So we understand one thing leads to another, but not in a full picture. That's why sometimes we look back when we are teenagers and we, oh my goodness, I suffered so much for that. It was really nothing. But that part of the brain wasn't there at that time. So that was all about emotion, and all the decisions lead by emotion. And it's so easy to create trauma in the child, and to create, because they live under emotion. They have not 100% idea of time. They don't have concept even in babies of their bodies and mother bodies. So it's so much room for confusion, for pain, for misunderstanding, for trauma, that of course that needs one day to be worked on. We all carry a little bit of trauma with us, and some more, some less. But one day the body will show the signs of this unresolved trauma and this unresolved issue, or this unresolved need that was not met. And then we have adults trying to meet needs when they were still kids. And we need to go back, understand the needs that weren't met, understand the pain that didn't heal, understand the feelings that didn't found their expression in tears, and let them be, let them exist until no longer are necessary, and then create a new today.
How do you help someone create that new today? Once they've identified the root cause, how do you kind of help them, guide them to that next step of action and change?
We have many tools. We have a big toolbox, but there are two things that for me are the what I call the antibiotics of the soul. Yeah, and it's empathy and gratitude, because once you understand, oh yeah, I didn't have the best teacher, or I didn't have the best parents, but they were doing the best they could. They were bringing to me their unresolved trauma too. And we can break those cycles so we don't bring our unresolved trauma to our kids and so on. Yeah, there are many studies that you bring trauma into the fifth generation from families who went through starvation or through war, and you still see consequences of this. There is a lot about generational trauma. When you, as a child, heard that your parents been through war, or that your great grandma went to Auschwitz, or this stays as trauma. To have the empathy to understand, I grew up in a society that carries trauma. If we look at Germany, who've been through, that it's not that my mother, my father, we speak about a country who's been through something extreme. And there are other examples. But if we look that we are the product of a society that had their traumas, that had their experience, that went through very difficult moments from hunger, from war, with that, and the product of that, they try to do something for us. And sometimes that was not the best, but was the best they could do. It's very rare that you have parents who want to cause damage to their kids, but we do. And in any point, sometimes it's too great of a life, and then they grow up as an adult and they realize that life will never be like they were when they're kids, and that no one is so understanding as daddy and mommy was, and that other people treat them or don't speak to them in the best way possible. Yeah, so it's so easy to make it wrong, but to look at the other and see that that's not me. This is the other being itself, and it's not about me. And to separate what I do from what I am, and this to the other. Yeah, I don't love what this person did to me, but that has nothing to do with the love I have for that person. It's a whole combination of, we look beyond the attitude, we look further than what we are presented at, and that we have then the gratitude to see all the positive things that we are living at our lives, and to let go of the past, because as long as we carry with us all the pain of what everything did to us, that will not work, because we keep on living that experience. That's why I said that the window of the cars and the rear view mirror, it's a small thing. So it's for looking little to the past and a lot to the future or to the front. Yeah, so we need to focus on today. And most of the things is that we lived in the past, they are not even happening anymore. They are not even existing in our lives. But the moment we remember them with pain, we bring them back. And the mind can only stand and tolerate a certain level of stress and pain. From then on, it will start to release some chemicals that will hurt your body. We need to be able to understand, to have empathy, and to let go. So we keep on moving forward. And this is a process, because we are not born teach how to deal with our minds. We are not born very understanding. So becoming a therapist really forces you to understand that everybody has a past. And that past comes from another past and another past and another past. So most of the time people are showing you actually the best they can. And most of the time it's not about you, it's about them. Hurt people hurt people. If they hurt you, they are hurt. If you are hurt, you will hurt. This is the cycles we can stop. Not only we can stop hurting, but we can stop the hurt inside of us. So we don't give permission to no one to hurt us. Because this is also a decision we make. We make a decision to allow others to hurt us. And I prefer to teach my clients that we can get frustrated with others, we can get sad with others, we can be upset with others, but we cannot get hurt by others. Because at the end of the day, this is us deciding that this person hurt me. No, I was disappointed by the attitudes of this person.
Yeah.
Because it's all very, very different things. And to start this talking with yourself, with your mind, to not to take everything personal, not to put it all so much weight on your back. It's not always about you. And to just be happy with yourself. Love your body, showing that you are appreciated for everything that it does for you every day. Our brains know where in space we are and how much CO2 in our blood is and how much the pressure and the temperature outside, and there's so much going on in our bodies the whole 24 hours that we have no idea about. that this machine functions most of the time in the perfect way. It's so wonderful. So this appreciation, and it's great. And the other phase of this is learning that we can give commands to our body. We can tell our bodies to do things. We can tell our medulla to produce blood. We can do this. Most of the time when we are sick, we are just giving the wrong command to our body.
That's an eye-opening statement, what you just said there about how we can literally give commands to our body, and our body is listening to what we tell it. I find it fascinating that you've gone full circle. You started off in the entrepreneurial world, ended up in hypnotherapy. You're helping cancer patients. I understand you're writing a book about that now, which is super cool. I can't wait to read that one. But now you're going back to the business world, and you're taking what you've learned across this incredible journey that you've gone through and bringing it back to businesses. And I think this is really important, because what I'm trying to do with this podcast is bring more empathy back into the workplace. We went through a really trying time during COVID. Businesses were under incredible pressure, and now we've emerged. And I feel like companies are really struggling to find their heart center, if that makes any sense. Like, really,
Absolutely.
who are we? What is our soul? I feel like the souls are being taken out of businesses right now. So we're trying to infuse that back and help leaders not only have empathy for themselves and what they're going through, but also for the people who are standing next to them and who they're working with. So how are you taking your life journey and bringing that back to the workplace?
Once you start to understand and learn about the brain and how the brain functions, that led to the curiosity to do other courses and to learn some course from the University of Chicago about understanding the brain, and I did another course from the University of Peking about advanced neurobiology, so how things are in fact happening inside the brain. So when you go into the physical part, the biological part, together with the part that you already know how it works, it creates a broader sense in the bigger picture. And then I started to be very interested as well in making research about the placebo, and I found amazing science behind it, and how people healed from surgeries they never did just because they believed they did. And so I started to create with the knowledge I already had from companies. I started to have the idea to create a better workflow for, in the end, I picked the problems I had. I started to see with the problems I had, there are solutions in the mind of the people. And the more people know how the brain works, how the mind functions, how we can communicate with our mind, and how we can communicate with the mind of others. If someone has a problem in the rare type of cancer and is very aggressive, all this choice of words are horrible. You have a small percentage, but we can say all these things. It's not that we lie to. No, we can say everything. It's just in a different way. That doesn't cause a picture in the mind that gives so much power to this cancer. And the same thing we can do with the workplace. When I decided to create these programs for companies and for team building or for sales acceleration or for what is the need of this company, it was because there are what I call bringing the neuroscience and to the office. It's to use what we know about the brain and about communicating with the brain and how to choose and choosing the right words with the ground of empathy behind. And then to look at we can expect the best from others when we give our best to them too. So this is a process that can be worked on, because we are not only the product of our upbringing, but the product of a society, of a system of beliefs. who have a preconceived idea about life and how life works. And this sometimes clash, especially in companies who have people from all over the world. And then suddenly that level of tolerance is little and the empathy is even less and the expectations. And when we have the very fierce attitude in the office of trying to be better or to get a better position to grow inside the company. So all this can be done with not so much pain. Yeah, so the idea is there to bring the understanding that by knowing how your mind works and the other person minds work, and if you can grow in the tools, you can have better. Not only for you, it's great when you have it better, but it's even greater when all have it better. Yeah, because then it's not only that you can grow inside your company, but your company, it's a great place to be. And this is something that always makes me quite sad to look at people and then understand they are not happy doing what they do. I could pay to do what I do because of so much joy I take from it. It's not painful for me. If I have a really full day, I'm really happy. And most of the time, if I'm working with my clients and I'm doing things, I'm not even hungry or thirsty. I have all my needs met because I'm so happy with what I do. And to see that people go to an office many hours of their day, sometimes compromising, seeing their kids growing, seeing even taking advantage of the money they earn because they are unhappy with what they do. And they are unhappy in this environment. And this is the environment we are 8 hours, plus the driving, plus the coming back, plus the preparing the meal, and so on. So it's really sad. And this doesn't need to be this way. Life can be wonderful and easy. And this learning, I think if we once learn it, we need to spread it. We need to teach it. We need to give it in the ways we can. The book is about this. The book is to help other people who go through cancer to have it easier. It's to, of course, never to say they don't need doctors. They do need doctors, but they need their minds essentially first, so that the doctors can do their job and that the medication can do the job, the chemotherapy can do the job. How we see it and how, the chemotherapy affects a lot of organs. No, it will direct chemotherapy just to target the cancer, your problem, not everything else. Once it's inside your body, it belongs to you. It's yours. It's something you have impact on, you have power on. The idea of the book, the idea of working with companies as well, to spread the message, how the brain works, how we have much more control of the body and the mind that we even think of, about that we have much more control about our feelings, that our feelings are all come out of decisions of what we made is right or wrong. And we need to learn about this. This is not taught. And in our society, we don't know this. And this is important because if we all would knew this, life would be not only easy, but magical. It's wonderful.
I think we all need a little bit more magic in our lives. I love the work that you're doing, Janina. I really hope it spreads more and what you're doing with companies. I was just talking to someone the other day. We were talking about how the rate of heart attacks goes up on Monday mornings when people have to go back to work, and how we live in this culture where we celebrate TGIF, thank God it's Friday. I agree with you. It doesn't have to be this way, where we're literally just going through the motions all week, trying to get through the week, when literally every day could be magical and we could be loving what we do. So please spread the word, go forth and do your part. And thank you so much for being here today and sharing your story with us. It certainly was an inspiring part of my day, and I hope my listeners feel the same. So thank you so much, Janina, for all the wonderful work you're doing.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure for me too, and it's great to at least spread the message.
This podcast is designed to help busy business leaders create an inspired and engaged workforce. I am building a community of like-minded leaders and experts who all share the same passion, taking care of people at work. Whether you are a blue-collar worker or a white-collar worker, small business owner or corporate executive, you belong in this community. If you enjoyed this podcast and would like to hear more, please subscribe wherever you like to listen to podcasts. If you know someone who I should interview or should be part of this community, please connect with me on LinkedIn or Instagram. Life is too short. Let's take care of each other at work so that together we can make this world a better place.